Us. As you probably remember, this month we have been sending you tons of information about how to do SEO from home. But obviously the situation is a little bit precarious for everyone, so I know that everyone has questions about what you can do from home, how you can really adjust your SEO when in a totally different environment, different situation. So with me today, I have our SEO experts, our best SEO team, best SEO people that I know. So if you guys can introduce yourself and then we can dive into some questions.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sam Gooch. I'm head of technical SEO at WooRank, and hopefully I'll be here to answer some of your questions today.
Great.
Hi, my name is Adam. I'm head of SEO services based out of Queensland, Australia. So I'm looking forward to helping you guys out today.
Awesome. So usually at this point, I would ask where everyone's from and get a little conversation going. But I think we just have too many questions to get through. So this month, a lot of you have been submitting questions for our team. We have, hi Stefan, we have a ton of questions to get through. So let's just go ahead and get started. And then you guys, if you have questions on the live stream, just put them in the comments and we'll try to get to as many as we possibly can today. So question number 1 from our friend Kevin Murillo. He wants to know how to make money through SEO. So I'm going to throw this over to Adam.
Okay. Hi, Kevin. That's actually a really good question, and one that I've been personally trying to figure out for the last 20 years or so. Making money through SEO. Look, probably the most simple way to do that would be to start with lead generation. If you're in the SEO business, or you're a website designer or a developer or some kind of business consultant, being able to go to a client and give them an overview of potential work that needs to be done is a great way to kick that off. That's going to at least get you started with a conversation. It's going to get you in the door. And if you were to present like a WooRank report, or even something of your own, I think that's really that starting touch point to it opens the dialogue, gets you in with the client. But yeah, making the money on the SEO, that's definitely a tricky question.
And one that we get often here at WooRank. Okay, so let's hop over to the next question. Jennifer Pardee was hoping to understand a little bit more about the tools that she could use for lead generation, prospecting, and kind of what industries are hot right now.
Okay, I'll answer that one then. So hello, Jennifer. Regarding the lead generation, I suppose it really depends what industry you're in. So WooRank has a lead gen tool, for example. It allows our customers to send white label sort of SEO reports to their customers, and then they can also have like a white label kind of iframe on their website, so people can see the website review directly in their site. But then when it comes to which industries are hot, so I've been using Google Trends quite a lot these days. So I always like to look through. You can search by topics, or you can search by actual keywords. So I did a quick look at some funny ones yesterday. So beer delivery has suddenly seen a huge spike in searches, which you may expect. And then there's another one that I looked at was adopt a dog. So it seems that a lot of people are adopting pets right now. That one spiked massively. So it's really good. They've actually got a section in there around the COVID virus, so it tells you which kind of terms are trending right now. So it's really interesting to check in and have a look, and you can uncover some stuff in there. But other industries that are doing really well at the moment, as you might expect, you've got the online courses. Everybody's taking this opportunity to try and learn new things. You've got online publications, because obviously people want to read about the news, and then health websites, and then retail, because people want to buy. And then obviously toilet paper as well has seen a big spike.
Yeah, I'm certainly guilty of the quarantine purchases, so e-commerce is pretty hot right now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Sam. Moving on to another pre-submitted question from Begonia. Begonia wanted to know, when adding keywords, when doing on-page SEO, what's the best place to put that? Like, how's the best way to really implement the keywords? So put as many as you can onto your page, separated by commas, or be as specific as possible with the product. So I'm going to shoot that one over to Adam G. And that also has a 2-parter. So when you're finished answering the keyword question, I'm going to hit you with another question as well.
Okay, that sounds good. So I think if what we're referring to there is the meta keyword tool, that's actually no longer used by Google. Funnily enough, though, just about every CMS system you open up, whether it be WordPress or Weebly or Wix, they still ask you to enter in the keywords. So it's not uncommon to get this question, do we put the keywords in singles or doubles or phrases? Look, the truth is you really don't need to worry about that at all. I don't know why CMS systems still include the field. I think maybe it's a just in case. They don't want to take a stand on it. But if you were to go to YouTube, you'll go to Google and ask these questions direct. You can come up with lots of videos. I think from Matt Cutts himself telling everyone that that they're not using this technique anymore. They don't sort of trust us to tell them what the keywords are, so they're going to figure it out themselves.
Okay, great. And the two-parter, so the H1 titles as well. So do they go in the title cell, or should they also be specifying what the title is in the content?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. H1s, I found with doing SEO services for clients, hands-on over the last decade or so, H1s have become really, really important. And really there's two things to remember with H1s. One is that each page has to have a unique H1, and it's in order of importance. When Google's running through the content of a page, it's going to look at the title, it's going to look at the H1, it's going to look at the H2s, and then it's going to start looking at the content, things like that. But H1 is really, really important. It's your best shot to say to Google, this is what my web page is about. So where should you put it? As high up as possible is what I would say before the main body of content. And then whether or not you have multiple H1 tags on a page is kind of up for debate and discussion. Generally, I don't necessarily recommend it unless you have, maybe it's a homepage or something with a lot of different types of content. So yeah, as high up as possible.
Perfect. Nina, thanks for joining us. I see your question that you put in the comments about the top 5 things to make sure you have in place. I believe we already have a question submitted about pretty much exactly that we are going to get to. So stay put, we are going to get to it. Now, Sam, this next one is for you from Dale Noziak. And for everyone that's pre-submitted a question, I'm really sorry if I'm butchering your name, so I'm trying the best that I can. So this one is a little bit more complex, so stick with me. And for those of you that are watching the live stream, I'm going to try to put a synopsis on the screen for you, those of you that are joining late. So Dale says that their situation is a bit complex and twofold and revolves around the structures of SEO on a single site, which could have been a multi-site. The site that Dale is putting together will have different services in different niches. So how is it best to structure the URLs, keeping in mind service growth? Is it correct to have a landing page that directs you to URL service 1, URL service 2, URL service 3, etc.? Do I then promote URL service 1 to a specific market, or should I be promoting the landing page? So I'll let you answer that part first before we get into the second part of the question. Is that okay for you, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
So I think he's kind of hit the nail on the head there. It is a complex one, and I think as long as the different sectors are kind of relatively similar, then having your a main landing page, which should be the home page, and then splitting off into the separate service pages makes absolute sense. And then you can kind of treat the service pages a bit like their own home pages. So, and I'd recommend obviously promoting each of the sector pages as you would a home page. So, having relevant links and then talking about these sort of sector pages in relevant places, but then also pushing to the main home page, the landing page, because effectively any value that goes there is going to then filter through to all 3 or 4 services, depending on how many you have. So I hope that answered the first part.
I'm sure it did. The second part of the question from Dale, how does he incorporate areas into the mix? So initially, they're only servicing area 1 with the growth of the business. We'll then expand nationally to area 2, area 3, etc. So how would Dale then structure the site, given he has already subfoldered to service? Does he then break it down further by area?
Yeah, I would again break it down further. I think getting granular and as specific as you can allows you to really optimize around the different locations. So if you have, let's say, the landing page right at the beginning, then you link to your service pages, and then each of the service pages can have levels underneath them for each of the the different areas. So you can really target them. You can have like the location in all the right places where you might want to optimize. So like in the URL itself. So let's say it was like let's say one of the services was catering, and it was set in Birmingham. So you would include catering Birmingham in the URL. You'd include it in the H1 tag, in the title tag, in the body content, and kind of everywhere to really hit home. You might even want to include like a map on the page as well. You can pull in like a Google map, which further reinforces the location. I'd include the address of the location as well. So, and then that just takes you through to local SEO, which is kind of a separate beast as well, but something you should look up. We've got some guides on local SEO. So if you just search through our site or just Google local SEO WooRank, and I'm sure you'll find something useful in there.
Actually, for those of you that are watching, I have put a link to all of our SEO guides below the video. So if you wanted to explore those, we have tons of educational content on our site. Now, we just got a live question from Stefan, or Stefan, I'm sorry, again, if I'm just really massacring the names, but Stefan would like to know about migrating a small business website to Google Cloud Platform. Is that beneficial in terms of SEO? Will it increase leads? Or does it not even matter? Is it not worth it?
Well, personally, I think that it doesn't really matter where your website's kind of hosted, as long as it's fast. So, I mean, it may be that Google Cloud is going to speed everything up, and then in which case, obviously, speed has a direct effect on rankings, because the faster your website loads, the easier it is for users to get to where they need to get, and they're more likely to stick around and convert, make a purchase.
Okay, Adam, anything to add? Or you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's spot on. It really doesn't matter what the back end is, as long as the user who's loading the website is going to get a fast, responsive website. It's designed well. Being on Google Cloud Platform is just another back end. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the performance of the website itself. And in fact, I've actually worked on a Google Cloud Platform website, and they just had WordPress. So really, we were confined by WordPress, not by the Google Cloud or anything like that.
Okay, great. Now, the next one is one that was submitted by Catherine. This is a really relevant one for right now, I think. So gonna shoot this over to you, Adam. So how can Catherine promote her company that now offers online rather than in-person courses? So suddenly mass marketplace as opposed to a small, very defined local one.
Okay, that is really topical, and I worked with several clients who have actually done that exact thing in the last couple of months. The first thing that I would say is that when you're moving to an online environment, you don't want to almost lose the edge that you had from being local. What we did with a client, an example, was to promote the fact that we were moving online to the same audience locally that this customer would have normally dealt with in a retail store, that they're now offering this service online, that they can now do delivery, they don't have to leave their home, just really selling the benefits of it to the clients, to the same clients that she was servicing. Step two was then to take that out a step further, with a broader audience. But initially, you don't really want to go international, because at that point you're then competing internationally. So I guess a step-by-step advice would be to, first of all, you need to see who you're competing against. If you are going to go national, locally, or internationally, you can use the WooRank index to actually find out what other people using your e-commerce software are also ranking as well. So that'd be a really good tool to compare yourself against other e-commerce stores. But yeah, it's really is remembering that they're very different to a brochure website. E-commerce is a whole different game, but definitely this is a better time than any time that I've known in the last 10, 15 years to set up an e-commerce store.
All right, solid answer, Adam, solid answer. All right, next one we're gonna throw over to Sam. I cannot stress enough how often we get a question like this at WooRank, so I'm very excited to dig into this one. So why do all SEO professionals who say they know about SEO tell me that the results will be seen after 3 months. And then after those 3 months, they say, for example, it's going to take a little longer to see the results. So for a small company like the one that Jose Polanco is telling us about, SEO is very expensive, and it's not fair that you risk doing SEO and not having positive results. So what would you say to Jose, Sam?
Yes, yeah, that's a question that I hear a lot, and I've probably used it myself in the past as well. So yeah, I mean, I guess the point is it's not necessarily, there's no sort of particular amount of time it's going to take. 3 months is just the number that the industry decided to go with. But the point is really that we like to say this quite a lot actually, that SEO is a marathon and not a sprint. So it's not something that you can really just say, you just spend a few days on and then it's finished and you just tick it off. It's something that's ongoing. There's lots of different things you can do in SEO. So some things you can see sort of real quick wins. So if you're optimizing your on-page elements, it can just be a matter of like tweaking your title tags for all of your pages, and then suddenly you see ranking improvements, and then you start getting more traffic, which is great. But other things can take a lot longer. So one example is like link building for SEO. If it's done kind of as it should be done, so it's done naturally, then Google always says like build great content and people will naturally link to you. Okay, it often takes more than just doing that, but the point is you've got to put the time in to actually create the content. Then you've got to outreach the content. You might be emailing different blogs and telling them about this great piece of content you've got and how they could maybe reference it in their website as well. So it's all a bit kind of finger in the air, hoping that it's going to happen. There's no guarantees that somebody's going to link to you. But if you do manage to get those links, then they clearly do have benefits as well. So I think that's why they give the 3 months. But you just got to remember that there are often quick wins. So it might be a case that you want to try and prioritize your tasks for the quick wins if you're looking for that real boost in traffic.
Certainly. And I just wanted to piggyback off of that quickly. When I talk to our customers, a lot of the times they are wondering, how can I justify this cost when the reward or the return is so far in the distance? And I would often say to them that we have a weekly email digest, which is a small but not insignificant way to prove that the needle is moving in the right direction. So with WooRank, we send you a weekly email digest every single week with a snapshot of what's changed. So if your rankings have changed for certain keywords, if your traffic has gone up, your bounce rate has gone down. So a lot of really good metrics to show people that are holding the purse strings. Like, yes, I know we're not number one in Google right now, but we are actually trending in the right direction. So that is a solution for you.
Yeah, and if I can just add as well, just the point that, SEO, you can put a lot of work in and it can take a little bit of time before you start to see the benefits, but then they can just continue on sometimes indefinitely. Whereas when you look at some other sort of channels like paid advertising, you might turn the tap on, spend some money and get some returns, but then as soon as you turn that tap off again, everything else is going to stop. So at least with SEO, it continues and you can keep working. So it's almost like a constant experiment as well. You keep tweaking and keep adding and keep working on your strategy.
Yeah, and the more solid your foundation is, the more you can kind of coast after you do this like big push of work, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, so the next one that we're going to jump into is also about a local question. So I'm going to throw this back to Adam. So should I still have local place references in SEO, even though it might not currently be relevant?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. For so many reasons. This is actually a question that comes up a lot too. Even before the current situation, it was people asking me all the time, should they focus on local or should they focus on the broader, range and the different geographies? I think local is really important from the SEO perspective, but also from a trust perspective. If you can build up enough local clients, that's going to help you go a lot further, a lot quicker. So, and we've got to remember that we are going to come through this really rough time at the moment, and local is going to be more important than ever before. I don't think we're going to switch to a world where we're all ordering everything online overnight or over these next couple of months. Local is always going to be really important for Google and for people.
Yeah, of course. So I just want to throw it over to a live question that we just got in, just to break things up a little bit, keep you guys on your toes. It's about Google Ads, so I'll let you find out which one's going to answer. So Nina would like to know what our advice would be on how to utilize a Google Ads grant when having two websites under the same nonprofit grant. So one is an on-the-ground nonprofit, and the other is an e-commerce. So how should she be utilizing the Google Ads grant that she has?
Depends on what the grant is. I mean, yeah, Google Ads is it's a very sophisticated tool, and it can bring you a lot of traffic if you do it right. Again, it's something that I guess could be answered on a lower level, but just in general, I tend to look at Google Ads as it's helping the SEO. And so I often use my hands to do this. It's like if you start up here by pushing your site out with Google Ads initially, in the long run, you're going to then, come up the rankings with your SEO, which allows you to come down in the ad spend. Now, if it's a grant, especially, you've got obviously a limited budget. And as Sam said before, that's the benefit of SEO over SEM or PPC advertising. Sam, do you want to add something?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I think you can also use you're getting the free grants, which is great. I know that there are some restrictions, so you have like a particular cost per click that you have to use and that kind of stuff. But anyway, the point is that you can really learn to understand which of the keywords you're targeting have the most value, and then you can use those for your SEO as well. So you can use those as part of your keyword research, and then you can also again, you can test let's say your title tags and your meta descriptions. You can do some sort of A/B testing to see which ones get the better click-through rates, and then you can apply those to your SEO as well. So it's a nice way to kind of learn from AdWords and pull that into SEO, or Google Ads as it's now called.
Okay, great. Nina just gave us a little bit of extra context. We can move on to the next question, but Nina Moneybags said that her grant is $10,000 US monthly.
Wow,
so
okay.
You've got some room
no
to
problem with budget then.
Yeah. Okay, great. We did just get another live question on, but I'm going to go through some of the pre-submitted ones before we get to the live questions. This one I think is a little easier, this next one. All right, so where was I? Oh, okay, so Adam, this is a perfect question for you. Do I have to pay an SEO expert, or can you help me do it myself? Adam?
Okay. Well, that's perfect for me because my background is actually more training rather than trying to sell people on SEO, although I have done both of my life. Look, the answer is it's both. You can definitely pay someone to do your SEO. If you do the research, you ask people for some recommendations, you will find that there are really good SEO people out there who will charge you a reasonable amount for the right amount of work. But in the situation that we're in at the moment, I think there's no better time than to learn it. And definitely have a bias towards education and learning, but SEO is something that can be learned. It's complex, but it's not. Well, it kind of is rocket science, but it's rocket science you can learn, and there's plenty of resources, especially on the WooRank website for learning about SEO. So definitely.
Right. Yeah, and I would also just add that I say to my trial customers a lot of the time, if someone is offering you SEO services for pennies and guarantees that you're going to get on page 1 in a week, run as far and as fast as you possibly can, because it's a scam. Don't believe it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Sam, this is a question that we get so often about Open Graph Protocol, or OG tags. So Gabby wanted to know how to fix those issues, because she can't seem to really get her head around what these are and how to fix them.
Okay, hello Gabby. Yes, that is true. We do get this question a lot. So for everybody who isn't familiar with Open Graph tags, they're like special meta tags, and you can use them to guide social media sharing platforms as to how they're going to display your URL when you share them, or when anybody shares them. So if I was to share a link on Facebook, you often see like a little description, an image, and the link and that kind of stuff. The best answer I've got for you is that on WooRank, you can check the review. If you click on the Open Graphs kind of section, it'll open up and give you some extra information. And in there, there's a few tools. There's one from Facebook where it actually It's a tool that you can basically put your URL in, and then it will test the Open Graph meta tags and let you know if there are any issues or if there are any that are missing. And there's also a guide in there as well, which it can tell you how you actually add them. So you need to add them to the head of your HTML. But if that's too technical for you, then I'm sure that you could find the information in there, or hand it to your developer and they'll do it for you. But there's actually if you're using WordPress as well, I use Yoast with WordPress, and they've got the feature kind of built into it. So you just go to the social section in there and you can easily add them in. Yeah,
I was going to say most of these main CMS platforms do make it pretty easy, even though something sounds really technical. Usually with like WordPress, Squarespace, they do have the kind of easy version of doing this.
Exactly.
I'm going to go to a live question from JMF Disco. So earlier we were talking about weekly metrics, or I talked about weekly metrics, and JMF Disco wants to know what weekly metrics should he be looking for to see if the SEO efforts are changing.
Oh, that's a good one. You go.
Well, I was going to say, Adam, I'm not sure how your weekly reports look for the clients and that kind of thing, but I mean, personally, obviously, like organic traffic is the main thing that you're going after. So you want to make sure that your traffic's going up, but also the quality of that traffic. So you probably want to look at like bounce rate. Are people coming to your page and actually finding what they want, or are they just leaving straight away? And then you probably want to be setting up some conversions through your Google Analytics as well, or whatever analytics platform you're using, so you can check to see how things are going over time. So you might be getting a lot more traffic, but actually that traffic isn't actually turning into sales. So is it really of use to you? Do you need to focus your efforts more on how you're going to convert that traffic? And rankings, I mean, obviously it's important to track rankings, so how the keywords you're tracking are positioned in Google or Bing or whatever other search engine you're looking at. But yeah, I think organic traffic is probably the one you should be looking at most, because it may be that you're ranking for a lot of other keywords that you're not even tracking, and that's resulting in more traffic. So I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, Adam.
I think you nailed it. I would normally say rankings are for upper management. They especially if they're the owner of the company, there is some vanity there. You want to see that your keywords that you want your brand to rank for are going higher and higher. So you want to see that. But as a real SEO person, as the person working on the website, you're looking at the traffic. Just like Sam said, making sure that traffic that you do get is performing better, and you're squeezing as many conversions out of that traffic as you possibly can. So yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Okay, this question is, I know I've said this a lot today, but this question I probably get more than any other question from any of our customers. So Adam, I'm going to let you answer this one. How do I rank on Google?
Okay, how do you rank on Google? Yeah, look, that's what we've been trying to figure out for the last 20 years. Okay, so really it can come down to many different things, but if we really just throw all these things in similar categories, I would say the most important top sort of 5 things to do to rank on Google would be one, you need to first of all have a audit your website and repair it, because you're going to find that initially things like pages are loading slow, or there's there's too much JavaScript loading, or too much CSS, or there's all these sort of on-page technical issues. So that is definitely a big part of it, the technical side. You need to also, though, and throwing back to our last question, is really watch what's happening with the traffic that's coming in with the search terms that you're ranking for. Some people never really think about it, but there's actually search terms that you do not want to rank for. And that can have a negative effect on the actual keywords and search terms you do want to rank for. So understanding what you do rank for, how much traffic is coming in from those search terms is really, really important. I guess you also, goes without saying, you need to have a mobile website that, just blitzes on a mobile first, especially since Google released the mobile first update to their algorithm. It's just hands down, you have to have a mobile friendly website. And I guess most importantly, if you can learn to optimize your content and make sure that your content is relevant, is up to date, it's authoritative, it's great. That you've got smashing content, It's not duplicated. It's not just copy and pasted from somewhere else. These are the sorts of quality of life things that you can do for a website. That's going to make Google happy. If you make people happy, you're going to make Google happy. That would be my medium short answer.
That's great. I guess ultimately Google and Google alone holds the keys to that answer, but but I think your advice was definitely spot on. Okay, so our next question comes from Duncan, and this is a very Sam-esque question. So, you ready, Sam?
Ready.
Okay, so Duncan is trying to add a new sitemap to Google Search Console from the classic Google site. So he sent a link that I think I sent you earlier, but it prompts an error. Your sitemap appears to be an HTML page. Please use a supported sitemap format instead. So he tried what the staff mentioned, like using XML links. They still didn't work, so thank you in advance for advising.
Okay, so yes, Duncan, I did actually look at this earlier, and the problem is, so this often happens that people mistake HTML sitemaps or mix up HTML sitemaps with XML sitemaps. So first, an HTML sitemap is, you're probably familiar with it when you go to a website and you see sitemap link in the bottom, and it lists all of the pages and the hierarchy of the site. So that's the user sitemap. The one that we're looking at here, the one that Google Search Console wants to see, is the XML sitemap, and that's an XML file which is kind of built in a format that's for search engines or for crawlers, and it basically lists out all of the URLs and some extra information, so you can add like the priority of each of your page types. So whether it's like your home page is the top priority page, or whether it's a category page that might be slightly lower. So you need to find your XML sitemap. So I did a bit of digging around, and actually with the Google sites, they do produce an XML sitemap automatically, and that appears. So I've got the link here. It's if after your site URL, if you put /system/feeds/sitemap, then you'll see that sitemap, and then that can be uploaded to Google via Google Search Console, and it will accept it. So I hope that is a clear enough answer for you.
I'm going to put that little thing that Sam just said in the comments. So
yeah, good idea. Yeah.
So you need to add for us. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to put that in the comments for you, Duncan. There you go. All right, next question, since we are kind of running up on time here. So for Adam, are there any tips for finding businesses for SEO services, including content creation and local SEO services? I know it's kind of tough when people aren't traveling as much, and this comes from Jennifer Pardee. She would like to know finding businesses.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So in my experience, you're really going to want to look for someone who's a copywriter first, and probably an SEO person second. So I would do like a Google for SEO copywriter, and then also use a locality. So, I happen to be in Cairns, Queensland, so I might type into Google SEO copywriter Queensland, and I might even add a topic or a category. That way I'm going to start getting thrown up a lot of suggestions to copywriters' websites that have proven knowledge in this domain and in your local area. I think it's easier as the SEO person. You can work with a copywriter, a really good copywriter. If you can find one, they're really hard to get, rather than the other way around. Rather than being an SEO person and learning how to copyright, I think that's a much harder thing to do. So yeah, Google's your friend there, SEO copywriter.
Perfect. Okay, so another one for Adam here. So how should B2B businesses be positioning themselves right now? And that comes from Levesque.
Look, right now, affordable, essential, and really taking that long view, past what everyone is going through at the moment. I position the SEO services that we offer to our clients as something that this is the best time to be doing it, especially learning it for yourself. And hopefully in X months, 3 months or 6 months, I don't know. Hopefully, the world goes back to somewhat ordinary, resume normal world. Fingers crossed, because I'm going crazy in my house. So we have to look and sort of realize that that's going to happen. So you have to just kind of keep your foot in the door at the moment with your other B2B businesses. And if you can offer the service that you've been offering a little bit cheaper, perhaps, during this time, I think that's a great way to kind of stay on their radar so that you're there when they bounce back. Definitely, that's what I'd be doing.
Great, thanks, Adam. So a technical one for you, Sam. I'm going to put it in the comments here. So this question asker says, I serve content and layout updates throughout Optimizely and new schema through Google Tag Manager. So can Google still read and interpret the copy so it can be used to improve our presence in the search?
Okay, yeah, good question. I mean, JavaScript has always been a bit of an issue for Google to crawl and index. They say now they are able to crawl and index it without too much of an issue, so it should all work fine. Optimizely has been around for a long time as well, and I know that a lot of SEOs do use it, so I can't see there being any big issues in there. But I would recommend using Google Search Console. They've got the Inspect URL tool, and then that will allow you to basically you just put your URL in there, click enter, and then you can check to see how if they've like encountered any issues while they've been crawling your website. But you can also, there's another little button in the top right hand side that says Test Live URL, and if you click on that, then it'll check the page in real time, and then you can then look at the actual HTML of the page to make sure that it all appears as it should do. But also you can click on screenshot, and it kind of gives you like a screenshot of how it would appear. But don't be alarmed with the screenshot. You can't scroll down, so you wouldn't be able to use it as if it's actually like a mini loading version of your site. But it just gives you an idea if everything's working as it should be. And then regarding the structured data using Google Tag Manager, that's another one that I know does work. So yeah, absolutely should be fine. I know that again it can be a bit of a tricky one sometimes. Well, basically you just want to make sure that the setup's correct, so you can actually test your URLs using the developer Google. Is it like the Google structured marker up testing tool?
Tongue twister.
That's what.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, and then that will just show you which sort of schemas that they've detected, and if there are any issues with those, so you can test it with that. So I'd recommend using that tool.
Great.
Okay.
Adam, one for you. How can Franco get clients from scratch?
Okay. Yeah, that's really good. From scratch means really you're going to be looking for new clients. So the way I would do this is to basically I'm going to go straight to Google Search Console for this, and I'm going to be looking at what I call the low-hanging fruit. So this is where you look at the search terms that are currently bringing you traffic to your website and that you actually have a reasonable ranking for. Like, you're somewhere on page 1. You might not be in the top, but you might be down the bottom. Those are sort of opportunities for you to improve quite quickly. So without, I guess, going into too much, I would probably write some really good articles and some good landing page content around those keywords and those search terms that you have a decent ranking for. And what that's going to do is, in quite a short time, is bring your ranking up, which is going to expose you to more impressions, which will give you, hopefully, in the mathematics of it, give you more clicks. So getting you those new clients from scratch, but based on a proven track record of search terms that's applicable to your website. So you're not really fishing out in the great big sea, but you're kind of going back to what you know that works. That's how I would do it. That's how I get brand new clients.
Great. So we do have a few more minutes for some more questions, so we're going to get through as many as we can in this lightning round. So Sam, there we go. Where am I? Alfredo's question. So he has made a small business website himself in HTML, and his HTML knowledge was good, but now he sees that some of the things that he knew were out of date. So he wants to catch up and make a website that's accessible on all devices. Where does he even begin?
Okay, yes, that's a good question. And as Adam covered earlier, mobile first indexing is now live for everybody. So basically Google's only going to look at your mobile version of your website when it considers sort of where you should be ranking. So making sure that it obviously loads on a mobile is really important. You can test how your website works for, well, whether it's mobile friendly, sorry, using the mobile friendly test tool. So if you just Google mobile friendly tool, and then it'll come up with a little widget, and you can put your URL in, and it will tell you if it's able to render it properly or not. You can also run a WooRank review, and it will tell you if there's any issues with your mobile friendliness there. Had to drop that one in.
Good plug.
Yeah, and then there are various tools as well that you can use. So if you just search around Google, you'll find various tools that let you you can test how your website loads in lots of different mobile phone So whether it's an iPhone or whether it's a Google Pixel phone or whatever, just to make sure you could just try various sizes to make sure that everything loads as it should do. And then as far as keeping up to date, well, we've got lots of guides on the SEO guides. So as Courtney said, we've shared those, so you can read up on everything you need to SEO related. So that's probably the best advice I can give you there.
Yeah, and again, if you join late, all of our guides, the link to all of our guides is below the video. And also, if you wanted to try WooRank to do that special quick review, I also have a link to the free trial. So feel free to check that out. Okay, Adam, your next question. What are the new Google 2020 standards? The most important, of course. And that comes from Philippe.
Okay, well, funnily enough, some of the new standards are some of the standards that we've been living with for a long time with Google, and I would say above all, it's great content. I really can't emphasize enough how important it is to have good written content on your website that's meaningful, that's relevant, it's up to date. Basically, Google being a popularity search engine, you're trying to convince Google that you've got the best content in the world about a subject. So you've got that. You've got mobile friendly. Obviously, is a more recent addition to Google's algorithm. Structured data is a big one. You can go through and actually add so much metadata about your website, your products, your business, your everything now. So it's a tool that Google offers. So use it. And I probably would finish off with Position Zero. It's more of a quirky one. It's a little bit harder to understand, but we do have some good articles on WooRank again, and plug for WooRank. But it's true. Writing a good Position Zero article, getting that to rank is something that's going to really get you on top of the SERPs really quickly.
The article that Adam just mentioned about Position Zero, I have put in the comments for anybody who is interested in reading that. Okay, next question is, I believe, also for you, Adam. So how many maximum number of keywords can be used in one page?
Okay, really we need to take a step back and more think about not keywords, but to think about topics or categories of information. Ultimately, the more information, the more topics, the more interesting points that you dump on a page, you're kind of thinning out the content. I think Bilbo Baggins was quoted as saying he feels like some butter stretched over too many pieces of toast. It's the same with SEO. If you have a page and it's talking about 50 or 60 different subjects and therefore has hundreds of keywords, it's not going to rank really that well in Google. So I would say the short answer, the least amount that's needed and required to have a natural conversation on your website, selling the product or service that you're offering. So yeah, the smaller the better.
Thanks, Bilbo. Okay, so I think this is our last. Oh, we have got a couple others. This one is kind of a technical one for Sam. So this comes from Marcus. And how can Marcus eliminate render blocking resources or unused CSS, manual or plugin?
Okay, so I guess that depends on how advanced your knowledge is on the subject, or whether you have access to a good developer. Personally, I've found that using WordPress, that plugins provide a really good solution for that. So I guess that he's referring to what he's seen in Google PageSpeed Insights. So this is one of the recommendations that they tell you need to reduce the page load time. So I've played around with a few of the plugins, and they can be pretty good. You just need to make sure that they are compatible with your theme, because it might end up breaking something else which isn't so good, obviously. But one that I've used and I can recommend is in WordPress. It's the WP Speed of Light plugin, and they've got some free features in there and they have like a paid version as well. But yeah, I installed that and played around with it for a bit, and it did reduce my load time by quite a bit. So yeah, check that out.
Perfect. Okay, this next one, we have, I think, 2 more. So this next one is from Louise Dorfman. I'm going to throw this over to you, Adam. Louise has been doing SEO and really needs a professional to get ranked at the top of Google page 1, something we hear a lot, for their specific keywords. So do you know of a Canadian SEO person that can help her? During COVID-19, of course, the budget is slightly lower than it ordinarily would be.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Louise. I don't know a Canadian SEO guy that can help you, but that's going to come down to you probably doing a nice little Google search in your local area. If you can meet with an SEO person in your local area, have some rapport with them, have some trust. Like I said, now's a great time to be doing SEO. But the other thing I want to slip in there is now's a great time to learn more about SEO. Do you need to go off and pay someone to do all this work for you? Maybe you could get some consulting, one-on-one, where someone's like looking over your shoulder, giving you some advice and helping you just tighten up a little bit on the SEO that you have been doing, rather than just handing the whole thing over to someone new and risking everything you've done. Yeah, I would be looking at getting some one-on-one consulting, and that's something we can help with.
Absolutely, we can help with that as well. So the last question is for Sam. I think this is a great way to kind of wrap it up. This is a question that is a little bit broad, but something that everyone who's getting started in SEO really needs a little bit of extra help with. So Abhilash wants to know how to do keyword research in 2020. So how does he start? How to go forward with any particular strategy? So basically just keyword research.
That's good question. I mean, there's so much content obviously about keyword research and about how it can be done. I mean, my piece of advice is that over the years, Google has become much smarter at understanding like the meaning behind the keyword. So like Adam was saying earlier, like they, rather than looking at a specific keyword, they're probably looking more at kind of a broad topic of keywords. So a good example of that is when you actually use Google's keyword planner tool. If you put a list of really similar keywords in there nowadays, rather than giving you the keyword volume for every single like granular kind of keyword you've got in there, you'll only get a few back, and they'll give you sort of one overall volume for that kind of topic, or what they've decided is a group of keywords. And then to take that further, you've probably noticed in some keyword tools as well that provide search volumes, you might get 2 really similar keywords and it says they both have the same search volume, but in reality Google's just decided that they are the same keyword in effect. So another thing is that like nowadays you don't necessarily have to have the exact keyword to appear within your content on your page to rank for that keyword. So you may search for something, and if you actually look in the title tag or the meta description of the page that ranks, you don't see the keyword, or you don't even see it anywhere in the content. But Google's clever enough to realize that this content is about the topic that you're trying to target. So I wouldn't sort of necessarily try and cram in exact keywords. I just try and be clever and understand that Google is pretty smart. So one way of doing this is that the best place I always look, if you've got a website that's already been running for a little bit, you can dig into your Google Search Console account, and then it gives you like all of the queries, all of the keywords that people are using to find your website. And then you get the position with that as well, and you can also look at like how many clicks or how many impressions you've had, and the click-through rate, so how many people are clicking on your keyword. And I would probably just download as many of those keywords as I can, or import them into a spreadsheet, and then I would I'd group them by topic and try and come up with several groups of keywords. And then when you're creating your pages around those keywords, you just understand it as like a topic and try and use as many kind of variations without, you want it to appear naturally, but just remembering that Google is smart. So if your content is relevant, then hopefully you will rank, hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay, well, I think that that's a great place to stop. I'm really sorry if we didn't get to a question that you had pre-submitted, but if you follow us on our social media profiles, specifically on Twitter, we will be answering these continuing on throughout the next month. And hopefully we can do this again soon, because I know that there are a lot of questions that people still have. So Sam, Adam, thank you so much for lending your expertise, and everyone that joined us, thank you for watching. Thank you for interacting with us. Again, if we didn't get to your question and we didn't answer it on social media, right below the video, we have about 1 million SEO guides. We have a link to try WooRank. So if you want to actually put some of these strategies that Sam and Adam outlined into practice, then certainly you can sign up for a free trial, 14 days. You can try any one of our tools. And I think that's my spiel. So thanks again, guys. And thank you everyone for watching.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.